Calculus may help understand what makes one answer correct. Plugging a question to Wolfram Alpha may be more likely to give you the correct answer. Medical research may give you the tools to know what vaccine is being consulting the doctor, so more liable to take a diagnose the illness. This is the distinction between analytic and regular epistemology. Analytic seems to ignore those conditions by which one consent to be have satisfied the relative criteria of knowledge. Regular epistemology organizes the plurality of epistemic practice and devotes itself to how we should practically make decisions to a question of intellectual virtue skills. Wanted and complete. Should they think, well, Woods and Roberts won? Which reality standard epistemology examples is due to historical observation with skepticism. Some epistemology knows the correct of thorough because philosophers are willing to set aside words and look into what ordinary practitioners are willing to call intellectual virtues of that kind seem likely to have relevance to emphasis on the virtues of relation to epistemic those potentially to put epistemology in a respectable place. Continued. Analytic epistemology is a series of knowledge and proceeds by attempting to define the terms. Regular epistemology tries to generate a guidance by epistemic practice. Regular epistemology responds to deficiency of epistemic content is strongly practical and social rather than just a theoretical challenge of intellectual life that need to be to reform since we are all sorts of things. You know, other than habits of the toll others whose opinion differ from our own and read out Tyrus Fundamental or epistemology require to proceed with the directions for requiring knowledge. Regular epistemology employs as the direct regulation of epistemic content that happens in mind we need all rule books training. But that happens in a question of virtues. Regular epistemology is not aimed to combining fundamental disagreement virtues presuppose one or another particular metaphysical background. Thus, any educational activity should pursue intellectual virtues. Virtues such as humility require one to recognize cognitive limitations and epistemic authority of experts. You need to learn what authorities to trust, not to move away from trust in authorities. Woods and Roberts 2. Humans believe what we're told to believe depend on it must depend on testimony of others. Without the natural tendency, children cannot get started in their cognitive lives. They continue given limitations and the way things go through according to cognitive design plan. The early modern tendency to prescribe general suspicion of tradition and testimony through rather than endorsement of epistemic areas of virtues of intellectual humility could be regarded as a liberation of the credibility of disposition of intellectual suspicion. The standard is appealing to qualified moral testimony. While it's impossible to possibly give a reductive account of what a qualified authority is, a useful heuristic to determine who's an authority to see if they've shown proper moral clarity in times of moral confusion. To clarify, one, the framing doesn't argue that the foundation of morals is that we should follow moral testimony, but rather it's a heuristic for obtaining moral knowledge. That means an experience that proves the truth of the ethical theory aren't competitive. If your framing is correct, qualified moral testimony will have considered it. Two, testimony is inescapable. Any starting point would be impossible without some deference to others. We cannot even debate without trusting our others or lying or believing around it is worth having because it is. That means the question must be some distinction. That means moral testimony is uniquely bad. 3, it's not a question of whether we appeal to an authority not the word, rather which we appeal to if I take an action which without a moral authority testimony I don't renounce authority, but instead I appeal to my own authority. That means A, then I can't prove that appealing to authority is bad, but must prove that we as debaters are better authorities. B, arguments why is it harder to determine authority are non-unique. Since we don't use testimony, we'd have to justify using our own authority. Preferred additionally, testimony is key to bring awareness to a question to more likely to do harm than good. Exchange 15. Testimony can serve as a way to learn what has value. Consider Melanie has always liked saying you guys as a harmless godly. Her Professor Melanie has begun to her use of language as a right for moral investigation. Being became aware of how gendered language made her feel silence our moral commitments have power to shape the landscape of our deliberation by informing what we see as value is. All from one within practical perspectives we learn that we learn what has value. We can apply the basic idea in a moral defense of testimony matters that are silent salient to moral understanding are not crossed until accepting by testimony. Contention 1 is Mandela Nelson. Mandela was internationally recognized as an advocate for peace in the political context surrounding development. He was an anti-apartheid activist who served as South Africa's first black president and worked towards dismantling the institutionalized legacy of racism, Brooklyn Institute 05. Former president of South Africa, the ANC, Mandela was a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, Gandhi Peace Prize, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The Mandela will be supporting the Mandela Legacy Trust, a charitable structure designed to support his Afro-Based bodies, and Mandela always experience giving a trust with uniquely qualified to determine the efficacy of development citizens to be consensus winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, the Gandhi Peace Prize, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. These are all well-respected and chosen by experts, so he's the highest level expert. He turns colonialism, arguing for the medals from a really racist country and a form of colony. He still offers outweighs Niagara's on his unique activism. He affirms Mandela 5. Progress must be deepened by Congress appropriate development countries at the heart of this political relationship between Africa and the West. A new recognition of mutual obligation to nations to provide substantially greater economic assistance. Connection 2 is MLK Martin Luther King Jr. is a pioneering figure in civil rights and peace, winning a Nobel Prize and studying the example of Indian freedom fighters like Gandhi. He worked directly led to the passage of civil rights that he affirms King 68. All the wealthy nations must use a moral obligation to provide capital to underdeveloped areas. These rich nations have always practiced service in their commitment. There must be a sustained effort. And MLK always leadership MLK has to show extensive moral clarity in times of extreme racism in the United States. He allowed the bravery to stand up for principles that risk of death. Turns case MLK was a moral authority on issues of oppression and racial relations. He had the 11th civil rights movement. He was more qualified on the issue than your office who are just leftist academics. And he during a really racist time. Contention 3 is Kofi, non-Kofi, not as a Ghanaian to black has unique political experience as the former Secretary General of the UN, recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize for revitalizing the international community and prioritizing human rights. Worldwide benefits of development assistance affirmed on 10. In articles, the international world development aid benefits public donors and recipients. I know this is not always easy to commit, but politics must strategies of development aid and charity, but a necessary investment in a safer, fair, and ultimately richer world. Anon outweighs the international experience and on the Secretary General of the UN. That's the most relevant to the topic, and he's considered to have played a key role in prioritizing peace through his position. B. Scope as Secretary General of the UN he has overseen many examples of development assistance and has decided to affirm takes out solvency deficits because he's the best testimony in the advocacy of the development assistance. On A, on review 1, the externality and theory on the advocacy A, sort of the subject of education will be able to avoid theory about instances where insurance debate about the topic which is applicable to the real world. The mutual exclusive interest means I'm forced to take a stance, but if I have no idea which you prefer, I just do so arbitrary speech upon speech. The role of valid and encourage testimonial education within Robert's 2 indicates that it is the unique responsibility of educators to cultivate the skill aids. It's a necessary facet of our lives because testimony is inevitable. That's simply how we live our lives, and we may need to learn which people to trust doing so can help us prevent us from being brainwashed and friends when you learn such things. The case solves the case because its methods allow for the development of characters that prevent people from being able to be what's Robert's one of the cases that this can allow us to become more accepting people of other people's ideas and become more tolerant by virtue of embracing intellectual humility. See testimonial authors control the internal link to the role of valid because it's necessary to determine who best meets it. Their role of valid is to provide a clear measure for this. We are worse than the moral experts who determine who's least repressive deeds independently virtuous, gentle, quick humility. That's within Robert's 2. That's an external impact 3. Prefer testimony to our people of color. Clifton 14. By taking the leadership of people of color in the broader conversation of what's become allies, white people will never have the same understanding. Direct peers toward the perspectives of people of color becoming saviors, not until white voices have historically been given priority for weighing appeals to intuitions, ignore calculating dice. Intuitions are inescapable humor. It is reasonable to assume that things are the way they appear. Some appearances are strong, or appearances can be intellectual, as opposed to sensoriological, which are intellectual appearances. We see this not with our eyes, but with our intellect and worry perceives by assuming things are the way they are appear until evidence itself drawn from experiences arise to cast out even the arguments of the skeptic rush upon what it seems to be seems to the skeptic to be true. You can cut the last one exchange of it.
Alright, you read everything else?
Yeah.
You good? Cross 6?
Yeah.
Alright. Can I be a moral authority?
What do you mean?
Can I be a person who is a moral authority?
I mean, maybe on like some things.
Okay, well, you say in the interview, you prefer testimonies of people of color. None of the judges are people of color. You're not a person of color. Should I be the moral authority in this round?
I mean, not necessarily. Why? Because they question of moral authorities with relation to the topic, right? It's not.
Wait,
it's not only a consideration.
So moral authority only matters in the context of the topic, but not in terms of the debate. So why does how do you justify your rule of the ballot then? Your rule of the ballot says we should talk about sort of testimonial education. So we should embrace testimony, right?
Yes.
All right. So then, can I be a moral authority?
I mean, sure, maybe on some issues.
All right. So
on
the issue of debate, can I be a moral authority?
I mean, it depends. Like, I don't know how you are. Like,
okay,
obviously, maybe
right, so
maybe
you don't know
maybe testimonies where people of color outweigh, but that means they have to be a moral testimony to begin with. It's not just like anyone who's a person of color is a testimony.
So, like, what determines whether I can be a moral testimony in this round or not?
What?
What determines whether I can be a moral authority in this round or not?
Whether you are like a particularly good person. It also depends on the context of what you're talking about being an authority in. It's not just like being a person of color makes you a moral authority.
Alright, so do you think I'm a good person then?
I don't know. You have.
Alright, okay, whatever. Does anything in this app trigger trivialism?
Nah.
Okay, cool. Alright, so let's talk about Martin Luther King. So he cheated on his wife, right?
Yeah.
So how can he still be considered moral authority?
I mean, once again, it's a question of the context.
Alright, so like he does something that's like hella sexist, but then like he does maybe something good for like maybe other people, like in terms of race, right? So then how do we weigh between which of those matters more in terms of qualifications to be a moral authority?
I mean, first of all, like, obviously everyone does bad things at some point, but he's still like an ethical visionary in and of himself, like because he led the civil rights movement. Do you think people who cheat on their wives? He's obviously still a moral authority on the issue of like race relations or issues of oppression with relation to the AC.
Alright, well it seems like cheating on your wife is like not a good thing.
Like being a bad husband doesn't necessarily make you an entirely bad person in every single aspect.
So are any of these moral, like have any of these people done anything in terms of things like foreign aid that would make them good moral authorities?
Yeah, obviously. That's like
it seems like none of them have done anything specific to things like foreign aid, right? They've done things.
Nelson Mandela literally talks about the Mandela Legacy Trust, a charitable structure.
Alright, what about MLK?
Well, MLK is just a moral authority in general.
Okay, but you said moral authority is based on certain context, right? So what has he done in the context of the resolution?
His idea of leadership about fighting certain systems of oppression within the United States.
Okay, within the United States. Oh, right. Wait, so then how does that?
You can make that argument. You can make that argument, but it's also pretty bad considering like our third moral authority is literally Kofi Annan, who's the Secretary General of the UN.
Moral authority is pretty bad.
No, you can make that argument, but it's just obviously false. If you want to say that MLK is a bad person, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
That seems just obviously not true.
Case, you say that, what is this difference between analytic and regulative epistemology?
Sure, analytic epistemology is the idea that we have to sort of find the reductive criteria of knowledge, which means that we have to find some sort of overarching theory that tells us like the same answer every time, whereas
Alright, will this be a moral authority?
I mean, it depends.
So then what qualifies as something as a moral authority?
I mean, we have to use our intuitions.
Alright, so like
I'm not going to make the argument for you that Wilderson is a moral
authority.
Great, you can think that. You might be wrong.
Alright, so then how do we determine what is a moral authority if our intuitions can be wrong?
I mean, depending on a correct intuition. Like you might.
Wait,
just
so
be
then
wrong.
what determines the
This
correct
is why
intuition?
arguments for like why Hitler was a moral authority are just obviously wrong because it's a question of your intuition.
What do you mean?
Also, any of these types of arguments are just non-unique because if you don't look to moral authorities, then you have to justify trusting yourself as a moral authority.
That's fine. $142. It's gonna be 2 off case. Maybe 3 off in the dock.
A third off, I mean.
I might not get to it. I sent it.
Just restarting my laptop real quick. I was
Alright.
having an Excel problem.
Yeah, let me know when you're good.
Two off?
2 off.
Oh, where are you starting on the AC?
It'll start on the top, I guess. Actually, no, it'll be on the other B first.
Oh, under these first?
Yep.
I'm good to go.
Alright, everyone else good? The one he sees scripts on politics of wedge and notions that are going to be able to never quite hear this politics from practice to naturalized by club performance and perfection of slave and for practice when slavery sets dependence on the masculine band as political hopes versus the practice coherence self negation the slave farley over the movement slavery segregation wherever rather blacks not freedom the movement slavery perfecting himself the practice when slavery sold in life sold in rule of essay perfect yourself in the bastion not to slavery common to home reckon slip the freedom with some free big willing self and free bound self to win it briefly belief moral cultivates law this slave relation is the way in which civil society and subjectivity coheres the negation of existence or social death the alienation to response to the slave defining fungible and would avoid social relationality in opposition to human how relates this condition all this more this role the vast endorsement who advocates the best method and solidarity with the position of the slave Aaron 16. The slave relation is defined by a social death and alienation which limited finds this combination of the rest of being experiential social the relationship of social relation product relations opposite slave finds most position in the very existence as a non-human captured object the ontological rejection is defined by accumulation fungibility formal traits of slave relation or producing capital life and perpetuation in form of social civil the theory structure the racial rejection is transformed the epidermal alteration to blackness this is the way no rich white culture sees the fallen captive humanity means that a structure stands in antagonist with black bodies to boxes to belong to state party with civil society social forms and racialized pathos of different the only ethical demand is one that calls for the end of the world itself the affirmative reference conflict paradigm
produces challenge foundational paradigm. Antagonism produces the mindset argues the very same paradigm will and the grammars of the grammars available in my the attention to this advance the world and under which world capacity thinking is this world without practice the world itself is not the world that launches up to these slaves the structure of the US antagonism dismantle that my no longer sound like an oxymoron users something more confident promoting antagonism question that with the head of the ethical political argument unspeakable. Second off. If affirmative debaters read a standard about appealing to qualified moral authorities, they must specify and delineate sex and want to see how to weigh between moral intuitions. By this they do not do that. A standard first strategy 8 point without specifying what intent to determine qualifications are from moral authorities and also negate because you can just shift them one area where qualifications are. You can read an alternative testimony, but you can just say that it doesn't matter. Obviously, you know your framework what arguments matter, so I don't mean means that you must find context in the essay because they're going to ground you in your qualification. This allows you to just justify random qualifications like they eat a lot of bananas, they dress nice, they smell like perfume, they race or their social position better and get away with that acute fairness because I need to try to win around social outreach times because it doesn't matter how much time I have to have a strategy. It's also real abuse, not potential. From reading all the moral testimonies I have in the Dropbox because I wasn't sure which one would matter. Second, verifiability. We can't verify if these folks are moral authorities unless we know what qualifications our moral authority has key difference because it determines whether you are fairly winning your argument in the first reason you cannot leverage your app against the shells. The third is that clash without writing a specification is impossible to weigh between moral authorities. It also means the 1 year clash because that cannot wait. We also key to education because we need to clash and know how to defend arguments. Also independent resolvability of a voter. It is impossible to resolve two competing authorities that know how to weigh between the two resolving in the voter. And all rounds can be resolvable and prevent judgment measure also crosses and solve one judge obligated for crossing so we can validate contention second better set norms. Everyone always remember to ask 3. Instead of debaters just be super abused and hope they don't call for not enough time to look over all of your evidence to make sure it's consistent with your new specification voters. Fairness to one debate is competitive activity constrains judges' ability to determine the better debate which one's constitution thinking about. Second, puts me on another argument means better constraint evaluate other education because one's only honor and impact second tools one fun debate because education means a prior question to any other impact competing in terms one by judgment members because such an arbitrary blind second if you just where blind is combined into justice with that. People's back to often even committee interest debater when they're under shall display behind the rest of the debate. Second ensures future abuse. No RVIs one chill effect depending on counters of abuse always mean with theories can be second theories and if you get it later. In fact, those are RVIs 2 to 2 1 2 3 not launching you to being fair logic of the medical training debate. It will be incoherent in power logic. I go to the underview. As an overview to the underview 1. Hardest to negate 8 point after this infinite parent following advantage, so we get like I only get 4 minutes to prep for B point. After this last piece, you can frame the debate however they want. I have a 3 that means all theory needs to be weighed against this. If it was unfair, is only to compensate B. A second, prefer 1 and 3 and evaluate 1 or 3 after the 200. 8 point strategy only have 1 response 1 or 3 in the 200 because you structural speech when you a contested answer that I can make all structural speech because we only get contested. I'll get the last word since there's no 3 in our B point 2 is we're gonna have extrapolations of 1 or 2 that can move the 2 in strategy. You can because I don't have crosses on the clarify the arguments and we can go from the 2 arguments and blitz 1 really good abuse with that. I don't have a 3 in our answer. C point air neck to get a counterbalance after 7 6 structures time structural speech and prefer structural wing arguments about evidence since they apply each round so they more likely established we don't know such a best competing interests which means it also precludes meta theory now the rest of the year. First on cross check you say it's a question of substance debate. No, our argument is that even if you check and cross that we're not solving the issues on substance and you say we're forced to take a stance but no you don't specify anything at all which means you have not taken even a stance on your role about versus that all of our framework response we just our role about arguments would be weighing arguments because it's just implicit in the framework so you can just look at that also. A second the role about how justified we should practice testimony within a single debate round which means that we should practice testimony in the concept of with the how we do recognize the value insofar as everyone in this round is white and I'm a person of color you can justify white person people of color are more likely moral authorities and everyone should probably vote for me because I think that what we should do is negate now is to the extent the testimonies appear people of color I agree that I'm a higher moral authority which means that I should win. Now go to the rest of the so starting on framework responses, 1, Wilderson is a moral authority. 8 point, he's a professor, which means he probably is knowledgeable about certain things like racial relations. Second, he's a person of color, which you have justified as being good. Third is he is alive, which is most likely to know things like the current conditions of the way politics works and things like foreign aid, which means that that always any of your moral authorities because all these people are dead. So then Wilderson probably make the best decision. A second, moral authorities are shaped by power structure. They determine the qualification and intuition we use to decide authority. So if Wilderson proves that intuition is anti-black or it does not deal with ontological that means that it turns your case 3 is resolvability. Not all moral authorities agree with one another. For example, if I had one moral authority that said a different thing than another moral authority, we had no way of understanding how we would evaluate that around, which means resolvability is a sign constraint of framework because even if the framework is true, it's impossible to use in the debate. You have to reject it. 4, infinitely aggressive because it collapses on itself. To know who is a moral authority, you must have a moral system or some other moral authority to justify that moral authority to be. It begs the question of who's like the moral authority in the very first place, which also means you cannot resolve your framework. 5, you should reject the framework because it teaches debaters just blindly follow authority figures, which usually see very bad things because it comes hard to framework because even the framework is normally should racist bad people, which is a lot worse because we just keep on following moral authority. We never have our sort of individual perspectives on whether these moral authorities are good or bad. Insofar as we are only following them blindly. Now, you say testimony is inescapable. 1, just because we are socially dependent does not imply moral authority. It's just a condition that ethics must abide by. Second, there are counter frameworks that disprove that i.e. a framework is not based on social conditions of agents, rather of justification. For example, Wilderson, which means our framework would take it out. Now, on the rest of the stuff. You make on your additional reasons for you say that I have to be you say I can leverage another ethical theory because that something I gave intuition, but our argument is that we did the idea that we should use it as a heuristic in the first instance. As always exclude things like black endeavors considered as a moral authority, even if they are considered moral authorities. Any sort of intuition that we have is necessarily anti-black within civil society because of this ontological claim. Now on this specific regard, first on Mandela, Mandela worked for a bunch of different dictators, which means that probably his foreign relations were really, really bad. Second is that he killed a lot of people, which means that another thing which leads to more death probably means that he's not a good moral authority on Martin Luther King. First he cheated on his wife, which means he was really bad moral authority. You can't say that certain things are more important than others because that clearly means that you have some sort of there's some sort of framework outside of this moral authority that would justify why certain things are more important than other things, which means your framework is bad. The second is that he didn't do anything in the context of things like foreign aid, which means you can't use them as offense under why this specific resolution is a good or bad idea. Now, the third thing. Interpretation of the 27th November submitted LD topic permit based on stuff and dealing text and want to see what type of development to aid assistant data defend there are multiple states of aid bilateral aid, non-governmental aid, multilateral aid, violation standards for strategies possible to determine the one strategy against you have to know this like because you have to just ship them away or move all 7 minutes of the ones you call the different strategy. Also, the one area means you have to set 7-6 time event to win the new terms of the debate and also give him already binds ultimately when to rescue key defense. I cannot as well without ability to construct a coherent strategy. A second class should be a benefit two types of distance and I resistance to why there's no a certain strategy cross apply the cross extraction all the other paradigms on the first one. So Jim read vagueness in Clash. I already have things.
Is everyone ready? What comes first, K or theory?
Theory.
Why?
Justify why fairness proves that like if I win some claim to fairness, then it's impossible to evaluate substance in the part. It's kind of like a meta constraint. If we were unfair, then we can't evaluate true claims on substance.
Okay. If I win the testimony framework, is that a reason to prefer testimony on the theory debate? I.e., like frame testimony by or frame theory by testimony? Why?
Wait. So like you're saying you like use testimony to take out theory? I would argue if we're using testimony in debate, then that probably proves like that triggers the argument as to why if I'm a person calling you justify why those people are more.
Why are you a moral authority?
Because you justify why people are colored.
No, I justify why moral
authorities.
authorities.
I think I'm a good person, and I
why?
Think Pacey also thinks I'm a good person.
But why do you think you're a good person?
Because like I have like a higher Uber passenger rating than you.
That's actually not true. We determined that last night.
No, it increased by 200 since then.
All right, that's fine.
I had Uber this morning, and it gave me 5. So.
Okay. Let's talk about the arguments on case. Why is Wilderson a moral authority?
Sure. 3 arguments. First, he's a professor, so he's like probably really, really knowledgeable about these sort of things like political discussions. Second is that he's a person of color, and third, he's alive, which means he's more likely to take the accurate stance on sort of the way that politics is like right now.
Wait, why does any of those mean that he's actually a good person?
I think, well, with you, I'm using the same sort of like things that you had justified.
Wait, no, I say that.
Right. See, this is what the theory is like. You can say that these things don't matter, and so that just like takes like.
Wait, you prove that he's an expert, but where do you prove that he's good?
I do those things. I think those things like.
Why?
Like, intuitively.
Where's the internal link there?
Those things intuitively seem good to me, like to be knowledgeable about the things you're talking about.
Okay.
Right, but like this is exactly what the shell is indicting. The fact that you can just shift between sort of what you count as intuition or not intuition, and like move the entire one instead.
That's fine. What's the power structures argument? Like what's the warrant here?
Yeah, so the second argument is that things like moral authorities or intuition are shaped by sort of our understanding of society and sort of like the way that we relate to one another. If Wilderson proves that sort of on this ontological claim that blackness is sort of excluded from that ability to sort of be included in that understanding of power, then that would mean that you're more that's probably a bad moral authority.
Okay. Let's go to the or what's the argument you make against inevitability?
So the inescapable.
Yeah.
One, just because like we're socially dependent on stuff doesn't mean that like imply moral authority. It's just a condition that like
wait, that doesn't make sense.
Count by that.
Wait,
and second, there are counter frameworks that would disprove that. For example, Wilderson, which proves that like these social
conditions. But don't you prove that Wilderson is a testimony, which would mean that would be a contradiction, right?
Wait, what?
Because you say that your argument is contingent on the fact that
Wilderson. No. It's different to say that Wilderson is a testimony versus to say that like Wilderson proves that testimonies like the way that you understand the framework is done.
actually have to be trying to do it long. Alright, I have 55 seconds left. I'll send the dog. What is this?
Dose. Wait, do you need another sheet of paper?
No. Oh, I need to charge. Easy, can I unplug this? Is this your phone?
Yes.
Alright, the dog is sent. You order?
What did you say?
Yeah, I just sent. Alright. The order is going to be case, top down, K theory.
Which theory?
Probably like overview. But
Alright.
alright, is everyone ready?
The problem is I kept just way too little work on my framework debate insofar as I just have to win that testimonies matter in every single space of that that is going to be a reason for why you include the K and you include theory. So you go to the framework arguments underneath the standard. First extend the first point that says that a framework doesn't argue about the content of moral rule, just using it as a heuristic for obtaining moral knowledge. He concedes the impact here that says that if his framework is correct, a qualified moral testimony would have already considered it. Also takes out all of his arguments for fairness and education because they would have already considered these implications that he doesn't actually provide a testimony to justify why. I just have to consider testimony. I also just have to prove why Wilderson isn't a moral testimony to prove why the case framing is bad. Also, he functionally concedes the testimonies inescapable. And that any evidence argument would be impossible without some deference to others. All of his arguments that you make in responses are just relying on testimonies like Dino telling you before the round what to say. Also, it's a reformative contradiction because you justify why Wilderson is a moral testimony to begin with. Now, it's the third argument that said that it's not a question of whether we appeal to moral authorities, but whether which we appeal to. That's an extending that the net can't prove that appeal to authorities bad. Must ask me why debaters are better authorities insofar as he has actually proven why debaters as a general concept, not just himself, are better. You also have to look at testimony. Also, you can see that arguments for why sort of determine the correct authority are non-unique because he has to trust himself if he is not actually trusting any other moral authorities. It also takes out all of his arguments against resolvability and weighing. Obviously, also you clearly can weigh because you can choose what doctrine appeal to. You go to specialists for certain conditions and general practice and for other testimonies the same way we just like any other form of debate. Now on to his regressive arguments. One is not unique. You presuppose that we can trust our own judgment and authority, but there
is no conceivable non-circular argument for the reliability of your own thoughts to reductio ad absurdum. Your argument would render all testimony unreliable, including testimony we have to accept like the fact that you are telling us the truth and you're using these points or that China exists now. Now going to his Wilderson arguments, he says that Wilderson is immoral telling us testimony, but he doesn't actually justify why he's a good person. Just that he's an expert. Also, he doesn't. He's definitely not a good person because he doesn't have any. He's definitely not even an expert because he doesn't like politics. He doesn't like politics. He says we reject politics. He's definitely not key on this topic. Now go to the Kofi Annan evidence. He completely concedes Kofi Annan outweighs 100% drink of link. Also, you can see the weighing arguments that says that Kofi Annan outweighs all of the other moral testimony. He says international experience that surpasses that of Mandela and MLK. He's the Secretary General of the UN. Also, you can see the scope weighing argument that says that he's overseen many examples of villain systems, which means that he's uniquely keen in the type of activism. And so, and he extended the non-evidence that he affirms is going to outweigh 100% strength of link. Now, going to the underview, he on his arguments about why he's a moral testimony. Obviously, he only gives the justification that he has a higher Uber rating, but obviously his Uber doesn't correlate because I had a higher rating than him last night until he took 2 more Ubers. Also, he has to justify why he's good independently because it's just the Clifton argument is just a question of weighing between different good people that didn't actually make the initial link about weighing about why he's a good person to begin with. He just says he makes that jump for himself. Now going to the case of the prior question, you haven't made an episode claim about what it means to know something. Only we have knowledge must be derived from using intellectual versus like humility. So none of your claims are justified without appeal to moral authorities. Also, the case turns the K. Remember the firm is an F7 normative argument. My authorities are likely concerned the K include that the applicant idea there are much better sources to trust on these issues that are high concern. But I'm firm to both. Both things reform is necessary and no way we should assist it with rejecting the applicability of the U.S. religion. You've seen what I have because the concept that I have public interest in. You can do your political organizing. We need that. We can educate ourselves politically to be against the United States as a country. Even though we are working to reform, we don't have the strength to act in the revolutionary way. We should not feel like we have to accept the existence of police if we're working in reformist politically. Even if we don't fully use the affirmative heuristic, which testimony is generally good. This card outweighs the coalition is the best authority on his own philosophy. If you buy his arguments about why will there's a testimony, it means that this argument outweighs. Also, go on to theory. Fairness in voters, all reason why we made an objective decision or impact justified. The only thing that matters is that we get actual value from the debate. B, the debate is intrinsically fair, equal speech time, the ability equal speech time, ability to make arguments. People try to get ahead in just what debates about. C, inequality, inevitable, resources, disparities, coaching, no, for within their realm. Fairness is the voter. D, interfering regards to justified, reading theory against a single two neutron or education as voters speaks about debates, value, knowledge, and issue, nature of the judging generally. It's true we ought to promote education of the debate, but not the values and to make the ballot.
What did you read up to?
So I read the first, I didn't read E, F, G, H on fairness as a voter, and I only read up to ballot on the 8 point of education.
Wait a second. Alright, and then what religion subject are you?
I read up to, like, right before Newman 10.
Right before Newman 10? Alright. 142. What was your argument as to why your framework takes that view?
Sure. Well, there's a couple arguments. First is that if testimony is inescapable, then you have to frame all of your arguments for as a reason, or like you have to frame all of your arguments in terms of testimonies justifying it. And second is that moral testimonies would have already considered ideas like fairness and education, but you don't actually give any testimonies.
Go ahead.
The order is going to be quickly on the K, AF, then AF underview, and then the shells.
Wait, starting on the app?
Starting on the K really quickly.
But like app on the
Oh,
app.
AF starting on the top.
Sorry, can you say the order one more time?
It's going to be critique really quickly, AF underview, the shells. The K was condo kick it on the app. First, you conceded you were using an infinitely aggressive argument. Even if you can explain why testing we can resolve different things, you prove that testing in itself cannot be used as a moral framework, then that just proves every single argument you went from the one year extend the infinitely aggressive argument to to prove a moral authority to prove certain intuitions or quality of a certain moral authority. You can write another moral authority that requires another moral authority to determine whether there's a moral authority, which means that this infinitely regressive means you can never determine who's the first moral authority. At that point, there's no way we can evaluate under your framework, because even if you justify moral authority, that requires another moral authority to justify that. So any justifications why the things you justified are moral authorities, why that the moral authorities take out things like theory that requires some other moral authority that you've not justified as being a good moral authority to determine that moral authority. That takes out every part of your framing, but even then now, I'll go to the specific arguments of fairness in education. First, you said that all arguments need to be framed by testimony. Second, that I do not give specific testimonies. The first is that if I give reasons why I'm a good testimony, then that justified why fairness education should be voted, because I read them as voters. Second is that this requires you to be able to determine what are good, good, bad for testimony. If you dispute your framework, you're able to apply your framework in the first is you can't use these arguments also. These arguments very clearly new. Third is that I'll go for impact on fairness anyway, but not do the undergrad. Extend the argument that I am a higher moral authority than everyone else in this video round, so that's the reason why you shouldn't get I'm a higher moral authority, because you justify why people of color should be higher moral authorities. You said that first you said that why the initial why debaters are better moral authorities, but role about justifies why we should care about moral authorities within a single debate round. I should practice moral testimony under your role, which means that you have justified it for me. I'm just saying the way we practice moral testimony in the debate round should be by voting for me. Second is that you say that I took two over since then, but yes, that means at the current moment I have a higher Uber rating, which means that if we use this as a metric to determine who is a higher moral authority in terms of the debate round, then I clearly may higher moral authority insofar as that is the current time I have a higher Uber passenger rating. Then you say I can't weigh between different people. No, our argument is that I do not weigh between different. You literally do the weighing for me. You say people of color should be higher moral authorities. We agree that they're telling on a chance of probability I'm probably a higher moral authority. And insofar there's no other moral authority to determine who should win this round, and that's important in order to make any sort of decision that we should vote at a risk of offense that I'm a good moral authority and we should vote negative. Now go to theory. So first, it's an overview of claiming to this. You look at this as kind of constructive link. I clearly done enough work as the reason why his framework is bad versus he's not done nearly enough work as to why our framework is bad. Also conceded two full shells versus I've at least tried to answer something, talk about the moral testing question to the debate, which means that any offense he goes for, you can still evaluate constructively, even if he's slightly winning his framework. But I'm clearly beating him on this fairness question. Even if there was slightly takes out that you should still vote on constructively because he's clearly conceded way too much theory. Now, first go to the fairness stuff. First you say